All right, Ian, we got some voicemails to do.
All right, let's do these voicemails.
Oh, you sound excited, Ian. Anchor.fm/MCU podcast.
I'm working up an appetite.
And you can keep it short and sweet. Like 20 seconds. Say, hey, Pat, I like pork roll, and here you go. Here's what I want to say. I need some pork roll. I'm getting more pork roll tweets. It's getting carried in more parts of the U.S. now. They're on the pork roll bandwagon. Good old John Taylor is getting out there. So, we'll go through some of these. Okay, the first one. Do I got it here? I just had it. I'm so bad at this, where I'm always thinking, oh, I got it ready to go, and then I don't find it again. So, let's see. Oh, here we go. I got it.
Paper Mario.
Oh, sorry. Here we go.
Ian and Pat, this is Brian from 2 Punks 1 Pod at Anchor FM. My question is, if you could take any franchise and change its genre forever, what would you choose?
What would you choose, Ian? If you can swap out a genre of a game, if that even makes sense. From the 2 Punks 1 Pod, who've now, this is the second or third time they've...
I would take Call of Duty and turn it into a board game collection.
A board game collection, or actually a board game?
A board game collection. Yeah, just a bunch of military men sitting around playing spades, cards.
Oh, I thought you meant they're collecting board games. Okay, a collection of board games.
I literally just pulled that out of my ass.
World War II, they're playing oldie Monopoly.
They're just sitting around playing Monopoly.
They're playing old. Was there oldie Uno? When was Uno invented? The 70s or the 80s? That's what you would do?
Yeah, we can do some time futzing.
I always talked about how the weirdest one ever was Chase XU becoming like a action platform with the detectives from inside the car actually having their adventure. Nothing was ever ported any console back then. It's an arcade game that I've never seen in person, but it's a game. Okay, what's next here?
Hey, Pat and Ian, this is Gino. 2 questions for Ian. 1, is there going to be a third part to your stalker tale?
No, there will not be. Ian's gone over that before.
No.
Next.
And 2, I'm curious to know if you get a lot of people that come into Luna asking to record for their YouTube channel or asking you for an interview since you've started working on the CU podcast. Thank you, guys. I hope to hear a lot more from you in the future.
You'll hear a little bit. Come in and ask for interviews?
So I can break this up into 3 things. Since I've started doing the podcast, people... will come into the store to say hey because of the podcast. I've never been asked to do an interview at work, and I wouldn't do an interview at work because I'm at work. Yes, not because of the podcast, but people do come in and have asked if they could. Some people know me, some people don't, but they have asked if they can shoot some footage for a YouTube video or something like that on game hunting or whatnot. And we're always we're happy to accommodate that as long as they don't film. I don't want to be filmed on the job.
Gotcha.
I always say you can't film me doing any sort of interactions with the customers, but you can film all the B-roll you want. You can film the case while talking.
Billy and Jay coming and doing a skit with you or a little thing.
I don't want to be part of your video, but you can use the store, the displays. You can do whatever you want in terms of recording.
Gotcha.
Hey, Pat and Ian. It's Stephanie again. I want to first off by saying thanks to Ian for not taking any offense to my question. It really was all in good fun. Second, I really am so sorry to hear, Pat, that no one has ever had your back before. But honestly, I was being gentle on Ian. Don't even get me started on that asshat Tommy Tellerico. The guy has no room to talk. He can't even keep his story straight.
Ooh.
And the Amico seriously has as much appeal as a Tiger handheld. I really think a Tomy Waterfall ring toss game will be more entertaining. But anyway, don't worry. I got both you guys' backs on that one. Love you guys. Keep up the good work.
Thanks, Stephanie.
I'm more turned on the more you
gotta stop, Pat. It's weird.
She's pushing all my buttons here with the
waterfalls are great though. I do love.
I was gonna say, Stephanie, I have to criticize you a little bit here. There is more. A Tiger handheld has more use than the television Amico. Don't put down the handhelds there.
If it's skeet shooting, it's a good one.
But the Tommy Waterfall, the Tommy Waterfall thing, I almost forgot about those.
I love those.
Those ring things?
I've always wanted, this is one of those weird things that I've had in my head for a long time. When I get a place with space, I want to get a full set of perfect waterfalls. Just beautiful condition.
There's more than one?
Lots of them. And I want to put them on shelves on the wall. I think they look so
They
cool.
had the basketball one.
There's
the ring
basketball,
toss. Okay, there was
ring
more than one.
toss,
Yes,
there's
there
a
was, yeah.
pyramid building
Yes,
one.
yes.
There's lots of them.
When did those come
and then
out?
there's the mini ones, 70s.
I was gonna say, what were they 70s at first?
I think they came out in the 70s.
Those water games, they took a hit with video with like handhelds. They were big. When I was like 4 or 5, there was a lot of those things around. Thanks, Stephanie. And not that no one has my back, but it seems like sometimes they're having people that have not gone to bat for me the way I would like them. I'll just say that. Like them too. All right.
There had a few.
Up.
Hey, Pat and Ian. There's a long history of video game characters with children. Donkey Kong and DK Jr., Pac-Man and Pac-Man Jr., even Bowser had a few. My question is, if you guys are ever planning to have kids of your own. Thanks. Dave from Connecticut.
Thanks, Dave. I mean,
Actually, that was short
Okay.
to the point. No, I don't ever plan on having children.
none of your business, Dave. I mean, that's what it comes down to. I mean, I cannot.
I mean, it's a fair enough question. I don't think it's that personal. No, I don't plan on ever having kids.
I could, could not. It's a lot of money. College is a lot of money, but hopefully college by then is not a thing.
No children.
Hey, Pat and Ian, this is Chano from Baltimore.
My sister always said, why have kids when you can have cats? That's my
Yeah.
sister's favorite thing.
Hey, Pat and Ian, this is Chano from Baltimore. Sometimes on the podcast, you talk about how to introduce old games to new people. When I think a friend who isn't into the hobby might like a retro game, I liken it to old movies. Like the graphics and sound might be primitive, like a silent black and white film, but you can still appreciate the artistry in spite of the limitations. So that explanation works for people I know, but what do you guys say to people who might not know why old games are the way they are?
Thanks, Shiano. I don't know, but this is coming up every other week now with people trying to tell me Legend of Zelda is not fun or not a good game, and I'm just like over it. I'm sort of try to say, listen, why is video games the only media that we put this through this weird lens where it, because it came out back then, I got to use modern sensibilities to judge it. We don't do that with music, with movies, with TV shows. For some reason, video games has this weird prism where, oh, if I can't jump in and play it, understand it right away, it must be garbage. Or if it looks a little bit different than how I like games to look, then I can't do it. And there's just some people that don't like playing stuff that doesn't fit their sensibilities or just what they're used to. That's what it comes down to. So I try to convince people that like something like Legend of Zelda. I hear people saying, oh, it's too confusing. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, dude, there was a manual. There was a map. It laid out for you the basics and how to get going, how to find the first, 3 or 4 dungeons. It wasn't like us 8-year-olds dropped in and like threw our NESs out the window. And it's just, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to convince someone that they didn't grow up with it. They didn't grow up with like reading a manual or maybe like we're in a different time where people jump into games and there's tutorials and they basically hold hand you for the first portion of the game. I don't know how you get past that. When it comes to the way a game looks, listen, if you say that, then you can't watch any black and white movie because it doesn't have color. It's automatically crap. I mean, no. You cannot judge entertainment outside the time it was in. It's very tough to do that. For the most part, it's tough.
My take on Zelda is, personally, I don't think the original Zelda is very fun.
Then you're crazy.
I've never particularly loved the first Zelda. And I think there is something to be said about that. I think there is something to be said about what you're saying, too. I think the difference is people who are playing Zelda now for the first time are loading up a ROM or loading up a loose cartridge and trying to jump in and have fun with it. We take for granted the fact that we got big manuals with games, that it was part of the process of playing a game to read a manual, that we had magazines circulating with tips and tricks and maps in them, and there was a culture around the games that made them easier to jump into. Very few of us were ever jumping into a game cold back then. So I do understand that people who are trying to play the game by simply loading up a ROM these days are not going to find it very fun because they're not surrounded by the things that give the game context.
But that's not the game's problem. It's your problem. Like, that's not the game's problem. The game was made in a specific time.
The game was made in a specific time, and it doesn't stand up to the progression of technology.
It shouldn't have to stand to the progression of technology. That's the whole point. Nintendo did not make Legend of Zelda in 2021. They made it in 86. That's the point.
I think it's very understandable to not like The Legend of Zelda today.
No, but
just
don't
firing it up.
That's different than telling me it's a bad game. It is not a bad game. Don't give me that look. It's a classic game. It's a classic. If it wasn't a classic,
I firmly
if it
believe
was
in
not a
things
classic,
not aging well.
That's so weird. Okay, Legend of Zelda is probably one of the if you're looking at best console games of the 80s, it's probably in the top 20.
It's
easily.
huge. It's important, but without those
Easily.
materials around you, it's not a fun game.
How many games back then could you play without the materials? Could you play those Ultima games that came with the fucking cloth map?
And I hate those Ultima games.
But they're classics, and you cannot tell me they're bad games even if I'm not into it. That's the point. Don't tell me it's a bad game because you don't like how it was created at the time it was, and how it was a bestseller and everyone liked it. We're also at a different time when it's no longer, I want to beat a game in 2 hours without knowing anything about it.
I don't know, man. The bread in the Middle Ages was probably important, but it did not age well.
The bread in the Middle Ages?
Yeah, I mean, recipes for bread advanced. The bread that was good back then is not good bread now. It doesn't matter what condition
you're comparing me making food during the Black
I am
Plague?
saying that some things in
food.
I'm saying compared to other things,
entertainment?
things age poorly.
You're comparing food to entertainment.
Yes. I'm comparing the creation of things. Just because that's how it was created then doesn't mean I have to think it's a great game.
So Shakespeare's bad because it was written in Old English?
Shakespeare fucking blows.
Okay, Ian. All right. We're going to agree to disagree there. Shakespeare blows. Okay. All right.
Julius Caesar is the only Shakespeare player.
Shakespeare blows. That's what it comes down to. You either
Yes.
think Shakespeare is good or he blows. Okay. Next up. Okay. Simple enough.
Carlos from California here. My question to you is, has there ever been something you thought you saw as a kid, whether a game or in a game, that ended up not being real when you look it up years later? Me, for example, I have a very vivid memory as a child of playing Beavis and Butthead on the Super Nintendo in a purple cartridge. Obviously, a certain SNES guidebook will tell you a purple cartridge was never made for the Super Nintendo.
Huh.
So has anything similar happened to you guys?
A Mandela effect with video games? Yes, and it's funny because I was actually talking about this with a friend the other night. For a long time, I was absolutely convinced there was a version of City Connection for the Game Boy. It does not exist. It's never existed.
You thought one existed.
But I was certain for a couple
It seems like a game that should exist.
Yeah, it just seemed like something that should have existed, and I was...
And that would be your favorite game of all time, your favorite handheld.
Oh, God.
Game.
City Connection on a Game Boy with, like, little shitty Game Boy, yeah, it would be amazing. But, no, it doesn't exist.
Can barely make out the cat.
God, I had a friend who was saying something about that the other night, and now I can't remember what his example was. But, yeah, that's one for mine.
I'm trying to think if I had one. Looking back, I was always pretty good. Clear. I think I had one in the PC that I can't remember. That I was sure I played something on the PC that was or console, or I reversed the PC versus the console. But I can't think of it. I never had a lot of Mandela effect stuff, or it's a different reality. It's a different dimension.
Hi, this is Devin from Nova Scotia, Canada. I know you both used to be wrestling fans. I was wondering who your favorite wrestler, tag team, and stable of all time are.
WrestleMania was yesterday. We used to do a whole. We used to do a whole like 25 minutes on WrestleMania. Well, I didn't give a shit about WrestleMania this year. I didn't care.
Neither did I. I actually there is one match that I might go try to seek out somewhere. I heard the Cesaro Rollins match was very good.
Yeah, they're actually allowing Cesaro to win matches and actually realize this guy is fucking super talented.
But
guess what? You should have did that 5 years ago.
Well,
that's the whole problem with WWE. It's always like 5 years too late with these guys.
So favorite tag teams? Favorite
Back
wrestler.
in the day?
Favorite wrestler? Macho Man Randy Savage.
He's up there for me.
With Eddie Guerrero being a very close second. Depending on the day, I might pick Eddie over Macho Man. Tag teams don't really have one, although I used to love watching the Japanese 3 and 4 man tag matches in Torimon, which became Dragon Gate. I really liked watching the Crazy Max matches. I feel like that's popular enough that some people will know what I'm talking about. Stable, LWO.
Oh God, the worst one. You went there. Back in the day, my favorite tag team. This is like mid '80s. The Killer Bees. They weren't around a huge amount of time. Like they weren't around for like 2 years in WWE. But I remember I like the whole gimmick with the masks and this thing. But that's when I was watching the MSG, literally the MSG shows that they would show on the MSG network. So if you were outside of New York City, you never saw them wrestle. Really. I used to love the Rockers. They were my favorite tag team.
I liked the Rock and Sock Connection.
I liked the Rockers, and I always was mad they never got the belts. They never got they always were like they mid carders, but they never were like the main event tag team. It was always like Demolition or Legion of Doom or whatever. It was always like the Rockers. And then wrestlers at the time back then, I always go back to well, of course. It's bad to say by now, but Chris Benoit used to be my favorite wrestler for years and years. I was there at WrestleMania 20 when he won MSG, and that was amazing that they actually put it on him. Obviously, it's unfortunate what happened after that. But back in the day, I always liked Mr. Perfect, even though you kind of knew that he was so good. Kurt Hennig, that
very good.
He was so fucking good that even as a heel, you're like, this guy is good. Like, even though he has that arrogant personality, like, this guy is, like, even when you were a kid, you knew that. I knew wrestling was fake.
Sure.
I was like 9, 10, but it was like, wow, this guy is super good. I'm not supposed to like him, but I like him. I used to use him in WrestleFest. He's Mr. Perfect and Ultimate Warrior. They're the perfect weird tag team that I used to always use. All right, what's next here?
Hey, Pat and Ian, it's Brent from Whippany, New Jersey.
Oh, Whippany.
What's going on? You only give us 20 seconds to talk now, yet you're pushing an hour-long intro. Anyway, please talk about growing up with Dusty Diamond All-Star Softball and NES. Having been a wiffle ball enthusiast growing up, I would have loved this game, but I only learned about it from watching reruns of the NES marathon. Anyway, you good? All right, take care.
Hey, Brad, I don't care from New Jersey. From one Jersey guy to another. You don't sass us on the podcast. You don't go Jersey on me. I'll send Stephanie after your ass if you do that. Dusty Diamond, talk about it. I mean, it's really a fantastic game. We talked about it. Did we play on the marathon this past year?
I don't think we did this past year, but we have most years. It's not a game that I grew up with. I remember seeing it in...
I think we rented it, or did Billy have it?
I remember seeing
played
it in magazines and thinking this looks cool and reading about it, but I don't think I actually really gave it any time until I was in probably my late teens. So no, I didn't grow up with it, but it is a fun game. It's a neat idea. I definitely think there could be a Sandlot style baseball game put out now with weird characters that would do great. It would do great.
I think you could do that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you got to read the manual to know the stats of everyone. There's dozens of players in Dusty Diamond.
Oh, there's a shitload.
Dozens of them.
The player select screen is crazy. They just cram all these little faces on there.
Dozens of them.
I'm always finding ones that I swear are like new.
But they all have different skills. Some fly in the air. Some do like super windup. Some like you can't tag them on the base path. They'll run you over. And they all have different faces. That's what's so impressive about this. I'm actually most impressed about the graphics. Not so much the fact that in the field, they just paste the faces on them, all individual faces of the players, so you know who's who. But when they're batting, they all look different. They all look different when they're batting and when they're pitching. That to me is super impressive that no other baseball game did on the NES I can think of, where the individual players, you can identify them by how they look. Like every single one, all dozens of them. So that's impressive to me that they did that. All right, next.
To it. And you, Pat and Ian from Cherry Hill.
Cherry Hill.
Yo, you should
Not
don't
Jersey.
sleep on WandaVision.
Not sleep on WandaVision.
I was disappointed the first episode. The second got me hooked. You'll really like it. It is definitely not a setup to future Phase 4. It's its own really good series.
I got you. Not to cut you off. You can tell someone's from Jersey. These two in a row, a little more aggressive than the typical person. Got sassed by Brent, and Ian's telling me to go watch WandaVision. I watched it, and like I said, it was better than I thought. It wasn't just a setup, but boy, am I loving Falcon Winter Soldier. I'm in love with that show so far. I mean, it has the potential. There's only 6 episodes, only 3 left. The way it's going, it can be like a top 5 MCU sort of property on its trajectory in my eyes. How many different nice themes are in there, and the action.
I do want to watch that one at some point.
Oh boy, it's been good. And only 6 episodes, not 10 or 12. Like they know when to get in and out with it.
This is Paul from Raleigh, NC. What I want to know is, if the you from 20 years from now time traveled back to today and told you, check out this amazing game sequel, what game would you be hoping you brought back in time?
That's kind of fun.
Well, they would have all aged by then, so I would want to play them. That's what would have happened in the future.
Okay, Sassmaster. What would I have hoped for? I would love to see a Trap Gunner sequel. Let's do that.
Trap Gunner?
Let's do a Trap Gunner sequel.
Is that the arcade one?
No, Trap Gunner, it was a PlayStation game by Atlas that is similar to kind of like a Spy vs. Spy. It's a 1 vs. 1 game where you have melee attacks, but you also lay traps, and you have to like kill the other person.
Cool. I never heard of this.
Trap Gunner is a ton of fun, and it's not well known.
Oh, now this is Ian's hidden gem series.
This is a hidden gem.
Does it play better than Spy vs. Spy?
Yes, it does.
There's like different characters you can use?
Yeah, it just reminds me a little bit of it because you can set traps, you can detect traps, you've got melee weapons.
Not a lot of games in the 1 vs. 1 spy hunter genre.
No.
Excuse me, Spy vs. Spy genre. Not a lot.
But it's neat.
And we'll do a few more here.
Hey, Pat and Ian. 2 quick questions for you. When's the big sell-off, Pat? You know I've been waiting on that. And Second, what is some eBay etiquette that you could recommend for all the buyers and sellers out there, for the guys who are just getting into game collecting?
Hey, Daniel, you're getting froggy about me selling my games like the third or fourth time he's commented. It'll come, Daniel. You got some cash on you? You need some cash to buy this stuff. Some etiquette for eBay. Well, you're not supposed to do the backdoor deals. That's always bad. You're not supposed to do the backdoor deals. That ruins it for everyone, even for yourself sometimes. If someone has something, let the auction play out. Don't try to get it, feel like you're pulling one over. But there's no honor amongst thieves. I get that. There's no honor amongst game collectors for the most part. Some of us have, but a lot don't. We get that.
One thing that I would say is if you make an offer on something and the person doesn't respond, don't make the offer again or try to get through to them again. They saw it and they declined it.
No, they don't decline unless they click decline, though. There's a decline button.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is don't.
Oh, if they decline.
Yeah,
people. You're allowed to offer more, though.
I just think that, I just noticed that people seem to want, you don't have to, some people don't even click decline. They get a lot of offers. I don't think you need to manage every single one of them.
Are you white knighting for eBay sellers with best offers? Like, what's happening right now?
Because people who make best offers are generally assholes. And I get that best offers are a thing.
I make best offers and stuff and get a lot of stuff best offers.
It's part of it. What I'm saying is you don't...
Assholes? That's why it's there.
Some people make very low offers, though.
Well, you do automatic rejections for those.
You make the low offer, but you don't get salty if the person doesn't...
I've gotten super low offers for autographed NES guidebooks where it's like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm not doing that, but I don't...
auction autographed guidebooks?
The returns.
Oh, the returns.
I put them for sale. I put them up for or best offer. I don't auction them, or best offer. And sometimes I've got super low offers, but I did it for that. I put down the auto rejection thing. I was like, all right, I'll do the auto rejection thing where anything below her,
Yeah, maybe I don't really have any eBay etiquette to offer. Maybe I just...
I think he's been on eBay for a while.
Maybe I just tried to say something. Yeah.
I was going to say, it's like, that's the weirdest thing. It's like,
I have nothing to say.
Oh, these poor eBay sellers and their best offers they got to click reject. It takes so much time out of their... Leave them alone.
Leave them alone.
Do you know like some vinyl guys, I guess, that got upset over this? It's like, wow, you went hard for that. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say that, first of all, if you do it...
Fake it till you make it. I had to come...
I know, and you went hard.
I had to come intensely.
Shakespeare sucks, and you white knighting for the eBay sellers.
Shakespeare can absolutely eat my ass.
Oh, God, he can't. He's dead. He's been dead for like 800 years.
I'll reanimate him just so he can.
With that mustache, it'll tickle you.
He'll rise out of the grave right into my ass. I'm just going to put it right
over the grave. That mustache should make you laugh and tickle you.
Yeah.
I will say this about it. If you're a seller... If you put down a best offer option, make sure you really want a best offer. Because sometimes they put it down just...
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, that's what he meant. Because I've done it where it was like a $50 game and like offered them, I'll offer you like $46 and it's like they're insulted by that. And it's like, what? Well, okay, then what's
$4 less than what you have? What are you hoping for? $49.50?
Well, thanks. Now you're opposite. You should be on their side. So that's what I mean. Like, the best offer thing is funny. Either do it or don't.
I'm fluid when it comes to eBay etiquette.
You're fluid?
Yeah.
You're eBay fluid?
I'm eBay fluid.
Okay. But that's what I'm going to say when it comes to
one more. I got to pee and then I got to eat.
We're going to do one more. What the hell? It's from the Two Punks One Pod. You guys got to slow down the number because you made 2 in 1.
Hey Pat and Ian, this is Brian from Two Punks One Pod at Anchor FM. My question for you is, would you ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?
All right, I was going to give you credit, Two Punks in One Pod. I was going to try to help you out. We're giving you free plugs, basically, in essence, for your podcast. You got to be kidding me, guys. You're killing me now. All right, well, that's it for this very, very enlightening and fun. It's one of our more fun voice message segments.
We put the fun in Funcast.
And fungible.
And fungible.